Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berbahagia Dr. Virinder Jit Singh, the President of MIA, distinguished speakers and participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Let me begin by thanking the Malaysian Institute of Accountants and the Islamic Banking and Finance Institute of Malaysia, IFIM, for organizing this conference. It is indeed an honor and privilege for me to deliver this keynote address on mainstreaming Shariah Audit in Islamic finance. Thank you too to the event sponsors for your contribution towards the growth of Islamic finance. I'm encouraged to see the strong lineup of panelists, all highly respected leaders in the industry at this inaugural Virtual Shariah Audit Conference 2020. I certainly look forward to hearing their invaluable insights on the developments and opportunities in Shariah audit, governance, and compliance. Please allow me to cover three areas in my address this morning. Firstly, on the promising growth of Islamic finance in the post-COVID-19 world. Secondly, getting Shariah audit into the mainstream. And third, boosting talent in Shariah audit. Ladies and gentlemen, this COVID-19 pandemic is totally unprecedented and has adversely impacted people's lives and livelihoods. Its impact on lives is heavy, with some 1.4 million deaths from 60 million cases globally. Its impact on livelihood is even more severe. According to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Report 2020, published earlier in July, an estimated 71 million people are expected to be pushed back into extreme poverty. Some 1.6 billion workers in the informal economy would have seen their income fallen by 60% in the first month of the crisis, and more than 1 billion slum dwellers worldwide are acutely at risk from the effects of COVID-19, suffering from lack of adequate housing, overcrowding, and limited access to formal healthcare facilities. Many people now realize that without drastic action, adapting to such unprecedented impact in the future will be more difficult, expensive, and have a significant effect on our climate, health, and biodiversity. As policies slowly shift towards ensuring sustainable development, sustainable and responsible investments, or SRI, will help broaden the reach of Islamic finance due to the close alignment and high degree of overlap. Hence, the long-term potential for Islamic finance remains promising globally. Malaysia is widely acknowledged as being at the forefront of Islamic finance, mainly due to the conducive ecosystem, effective regulatory framework, pragmatic multi-pronged approach taken, and strong human capital development. Based on the State of Global Islamic Economy Report 2020-2021 released recently, Malaysia continues to lead in the Global Islamic Economy Indicator rankings for the 8th year, largely driven by its leadership in Islamic finance, halal food, travel, and pharmaceuticals and cosmetics. In terms of absolute size, Malaysia has the third largest Islamic finance industry, with total Islamic financial assets of $570.5 billion, representing some 20% of the estimated global Islamic finance assets of $2.88 trillion in 2019. We achieved some noteworthy milestones with several industry firsts and innovations for the Islamic fund management, resulting in a wide array of Islamic products introduced in the market. Today, Malaysia is the largest global Islamic fund market in terms of asset under management. In the equities market, Bursa Malaysia's Sharia-compliant investing platform, or Bursa Malaysia I, positions the exchange as a global marketplace for Sharia listing and investments. As of October 2020, 77% or 718 out of 937 listed companies are Sharia compliant, which also makes up about 72% of total market capitalization. Ladies and gentlemen, it is easy to see the appeal of Islamic finance due to its principles of inclusivity and the potential to promote financial stability. However, the increase in demand for Sharia-compliant financial products has raised the importance of more refined investment screening process and audit, which brings us to the main subject of getting Shariah audit into the mainstream. Some of the issues faced are the inconsistencies in screening methods across different countries and organizations, having too many different methodologies at cost and in the long run could hamper the growth of Islamic finance. Non-compliance with Shariah principles poses an area of risk that could translate into legal, image, and reputational risks, which have far-reaching consequences for the Islamic financial system. Stakeholders also want to ensure that companies in which they have an interest in are complying with the Shariah requirements and are managed responsibly. There is a growing awareness, especially among Islamic institutions, of the importance of Shariah audit in contributing towards achieving the objectives of Maqasid al-Shariah. Getting Shariah audit into the mainstream is an initiative that ensures compliance and maintains the credibility of Islamic finance among stakeholders. It will provide stakeholders with greater independence of Shariah assurance. Moreover, the scope of conventional financial audit is inadequate to fulfill the needs of stakeholders when it comes to adhering to Shariah principles in business transactions and operations. They will also lack the skills to audit large numbers of transactions for Shariah compliance. The assurance of Shariah compliance through the audit function is fundamental in upholding the integrity of any institution at large. It also promotes a diverse role in improving the competitiveness of the institutions through effective mitigation of Shariah non-compliance risk and embracing Shariah culture within the institution itself. Shariah audit is conducted with a purpose to add value and improve on the governance, risk management, and compliance with business operations, mainly focusing on the objective of ensuring a sound and effective internal control system. In this instance, the Shariah Supervisory Board and Shariah Auditor play a significant role in ensuring the institution operates in accordance with Shariah rulings. It has been argued that the role of financial reporting and auditing should not be confined to the needs of investor decision-making, but should be viewed with more focus on corporate governance. With Shariah governance being the bedrock of Islamic finance, it upholds the principles of good corporate governance. It can universally extend beyond Islamic finance to all industries to ensure best practices are adopted in the management and operations of companies, whether sole proprietorship, cooperatives, GLCs, PLCs, or financial institutions alike. As a next step, introducing an appropriate Shariah audit framework will help in creating robustness in the industry. It is crucial for external Shariah auditors for the Islamic financial institutions to remain independent and transparent and avoid internal Shariah auditors auditing their own products and operations. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the importance of Shariah audit, there has been little understanding of its implementation towards an effective and efficient Shariah audit from the human capital perspective. And this brings me to the third part of my address on the need to boosting talent in Shariah audit. In Malaysia, the current focus is primarily on internal Shariah audit, which has raised several debates on its independence and numerous challenges, including the limited availability of qualified resources, have prevented the successful implementation of external Shariah audits. In terms of industry experience, a 2013 study highlights that only 5.9% of auditors are qualified in both fields of Shariah and accounting. Out of these Shariah auditors, only 69% practice Shariah auditing in Islamic financial institutions. The scarce resource of both Shariah and auditing qualifications, as well as the lack of experience, pose a threat to Shariah audit independence, which may adversely affect the integrity of organizations. Moreover, the competency requirements for Shariah auditors have yet to be fully developed. In this regard, the call to fill this gap needs to gain more attention. In Malaysia, for example, there are only a few local universities that offer Shariah audit as part of the subject in accounting courses, and more notably, only University of Science Islam Malaysia offers a course specialized in Shariah audit. And wearing my other hat as the chairman of University Kebangsaan Malaysia, perhaps we will get UKM to go towards that route as well. On top of that, professional training is scarce since there are only a few local training agencies that provide professional certification for Shariah Audit practitioners. Professional qualifications such as the Certified Professional Shariah Auditor or CPSA offered by IFM is essential in developing the required pool of Shariah auditors in line with the aspirations of meeting regulatory requirements. Such certification does not only augment the existing skill sets of the auditors, but has the potential to professionalize the role into a new profession. Since its launch, CPSA has produced 36 certified holders to serve the industry. CPSA has also received full accreditation from the Financial Accreditation Agency in efforts to ensure the certification meets industry and quality professional learning and development in the financial services industry. The recognition of CPSA as a professional program by the Ministry of Higher Education through its Graduate Employability Initiative has yielded significant results. Through this initiative, over 300 financial year undergraduates from 13 public universities throughout the nation have enrolled for the certification. The Islamic finance industry has also played a commendable part towards upskilling and reskilling talent within the Islamic financial institutions. Currently, more than 100 personnel from 11 Islamic banks in Malaysia are enrolled in this certification. The Malaysian Institute of Accountants, MIA, must help facilitate the implementation of a comprehensive and integrated Shariah auditing framework to cater for the ever-increasing number of Islamic financial institutions in Malaysia and globally. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a considerable growth potential for firms to offer Shariah auditing services to institutions outside Malaysia as part of the country's Islamic finance ancillary services. However, issues in terms of Shariah auditing standards, qualifications, and independence need to be resolved for the smooth development of the Islamic finance industry. I look forward to hearing the deliberations and invaluable insights that will be shared by our respected panelists in these areas. On that note, I would like to wish everyone a very productive conference ahead. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.